And here's on the screen how you win. This, you have to hit all of these notes to be eligible, but I'm going to tell you, here's who rises to the top is the folks who are answering questions for their fellow students, especially when we get to tech day and ad day and all that stuff. When we get we see you guys, a few of you kind of rise to the top as far as helping everyone, answering questions before we can even get to them. I see you, posting motivational stuff or encouraging your fellow students in the school platform. That tells me that you come from a place of contribution, and that's how our whole team is wired. That means you're one of us, and we want to reward that. So we pick 3 of you guys and give each day a $300 Facebook advertising credit. There's one more big giveaway. This one happens on Friday. This is going to be one lucky person. We use the same criteria, but we choose from the VIP experience section. And this person is going to get a what we call the Webinar Mastery Toolbox. So this is a professional quality podcast mic. This is an HD webcam. It is a ring light, which is very important. I have one right behind the screen. If I were to turn it off, I'll look 15 years older. I'm not even kidding, right? So you need it. $300 Facebook advertising credit plus 6 months of the webinar CRM provided for you. We will announce that on Friday. A big shout out to the people who spent nights and weekends putting this challenge together for you. So much work has gone in. This is about a half to 2/3 of our team. We were able to get together in Toronto very recently. It was amazing. These are the people who actually worked and created this opportunity for you. So a big 1 mil to those guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. What we're embarking on is kind of a goodbye, because we are going to be able to say goodbye to some things. We're going to be able to create a little digital bonfire here. We're going to create a bonfire, and we're going to throw some of these old strategies on the bonfire. And I'm going to leave it to you if you want to jump in the chat box, if you get excited about firing yourself from some of this stuff. I know I certainly did. We are never again going to get a free list of homes Facebook ad, or get a list of programs Facebook ad, because those don't work. What happens? We get a $2 lead and nobody ever answers our call, right? We're not going to do that stuff anymore because it's throwing good money after bad. We're not going to pay for PPC leads. We're not going to fall into the trap that, oh, if I pay $20 for a lead, it must mean that it's better. And then I call them 7 times to find out that it's a wrong number. Never again. We are not going to post rando stuff on social media, even though when I post a cat picture, I get 300 likes. When I post a real estate article that was very thoughtful, I get 1 like, and it's my mom, right? Even though the algorithm hates this stuff, we still do it because our brokers tell us that we're supposed to. We're not going to do this anymore, okay? It's over. Don't do it. You've got better things to do. We're not going to sit around and wait for company leads that sometimes come in. Most of the time they're leases, let's be honest. And sometimes they don't come in at all. We're not going to spend hours and hours calling these leads, listening to the phone ring, because nobody picks up their phone in 2026. Never again. We are not going to call the phone book, because that was illegal the whole time. I don't know if you know that. We're not going to harass anyone who knows us, our contacts database, the 8x8 and the 12x12. We're not going to friend our mom's dentist receptionist on Facebook, stalk her on Twitter until she sends us a referral or a restraining order. We're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to be cringy. We're not going to be gross. We're not going to chase, because we know something better. And then this one's just fun for me, because we're not going to solicit grocery store shoppers. Maybe you've heard me tell the story before. I told it today, actually, where my first brokerage, they told me to go put on a name tag and go walk up and down the aisles of the grocery store and talk to housewives. Yeah, no, we're not going to do this stuff. Never again. So I hope that right now you feel a sense of maybe being 10 pounds lighter, because you just shed the need to go out there and do all of this rando stuff that never really worked that well to begin with, because you now have something better. Trust me, ask me how I know. I have spent over $4 million on PPC ads alone. That's just buyer traffic. That's just PPC, Google, that goes to my website, Google and Bing, goes to my old property search site. Over the last 14 years, it was $4 million. So I can tell you that those leads used to be kind of okay. They suck now. There's no way that stuff's coming back, okay? It's just not. And the webinar funnel is a way to get leads that this was their idea to engage with you. And of course, they think you're amazing. The webinar funnel is the only system that you're going to need for reliable, predictable, I would add, client acquisition in your real estate or mortgage business. So after this challenge, I look forward to receiving messages from you like this, like I did from Brandy. So Brandy is my buddy. She's in Houston, and she is a really smart girl. She's a realtor, but she's also got her license for mortgage as well. So she, after her first webinar, she posted about what her results were. Her first webinar said, or on her first webinar, she got one listing, and this is all under the umbrella of spending 291 whole dollars with Facebook and Instagram for some marketing. She got a listing. It was already tied up, signed, sealed, delivered, about to come to market in May. She got 6 signed buyer agency agreements. And she said, hey, I'm a loan officer. I don't sign up anybody who is not already able to be pre-approved. So she's got buyers now that are pre-approved. She's got some pre-buyers, some renters who have maybe a little bit of credit work that they need to do. Maybe they have a lease that they're waiting out. But she's got deals for today, and then she's got these people who she's getting ready for tomorrow, deals for now, deals for 6 months from now. Write this down. That's what's called pipeline building. And if you've ever had the experience of like, hey, I just closed this deal, awesome. I've got, 12K in my bank account now. I have no freaking idea where my next one's gonna come from. Have you had that before? Where it's like, I'm okay, but I can't even enjoy it because I'm so worried about next month? Yeah, that's not having a pipeline. We're gonna teach you how to build one. The craziest thing on this sheet though, is that she got 3 referrals. 3 referrals, hold on one moment for me. We have some more news to share. I'll have to get that update later. So there's 3 referrals. The reason that it's so crazy to me that you would get referrals on a webinar, I want you to think about it for a second. At minute 0, these people are strangers. They are like, they don't know you. And what they are thinking is like, hey, maybe I'll stay on this webinar for a few minutes. Maybe I'll give her a chance. And then as they sit in your session, they go, oh, this girl or this guy knows what they're talking about. This girl or this guy, I feel like I can trust them. And what happens is this transformation curve that happens over 60 minutes. And around that minute 50, minute 55 mark, they feel like they know you. And so you're not a stranger to them anymore. And if you do it right, you will be able to ask for referrals on the webinar, on the very first session. And people will refer you their mama, their cousin, their hairdresser, etc., all because now after 55 minutes, they already know that you're good. They already know that you know what you're talking about and that you have their best interests at heart. You got your audition, you got your room full of people, and it worked. We just had to do it digitally. Yeah. Now, who am I and why should you listen to me? My name is Bradley Pounds. I'm based here in Austin, Texas. I practice all over the state of Texas. In the last 13 years, I need to update this, we've sold about 6,000 units in the state of Texas, my partner and I. We learned the webinar strategy only 2 years ago. So in that 13, 14 years, we did the first 11, 12 of it like the hard way. And so we were calling leads who didn't want to talk to us. We were, chasing people down from PPC leads, et cetera. We've only been doing this. I don't have like a master's degree in this stuff. I haven't been at it for 10 years. I've literally been doing it for almost exactly 2 years. We're regularly closing 3 deals per webinar, and we've expanded into 15 different markets using a small franchise system. If my name sounds familiar to you, it's probably because I co-wrote a book called The $1 Million Real Estate Team. All right, enough about me. The last thing that I'll tell you about me is my calendar. So within 24 hours of my very first seminar, which I was not great, by the way, I'll tell you the story later this week, but I was super nervous, deer in the headlights. I rambled. I went on way too long, which is important. When we get to day 3, we're going to talk about how to time this thing to get the most appointments. You can't go too long. It's a sin. I'll tell you why. But what happened was I thought that I had cratered. I thought that I'd made a huge mess of it. And so I didn't even look at the results. The next morning, I opened up my laptop, and from that very first seminar, and I sucked. I stunk up the room. Remember that. I booked 17 appointments. And so I knew that I had something. If on my very worst night, I was still able to book 12.5 people. And you know why? It's because they didn't need me to be slick. They knew that I was real. And so if you bring that energy, you'll create some commissions. By the way, this is something that I always forget to say. Webinar deals tend to close quickly. Write that down. And I want you to think about why. This totally makes sense when you think it through. So if you were to go to like Google and go get a lead and then call that person 6 to 12 times, get the appointment, and then work with them over the next 6 months or whatever, what you did is get a top of funnel lead and then you brought them, you pushed them all the way down the sales funnel. That takes time. So a top of funnel lead it hangs out at the top of the funnel, kind of clicking on pictures, et cetera. That's really hard to take a top of funnel lead. Not a lot of them make it down to the bottom of the funnel where they close. But what I figured out is that webinar funnel leads close quickly because they're already almost at the bottom of the funnel. Think about this. This is where the commission comes out. This is where a webinar lead is. Why? Because they've already done the tire kicker thing. They've already done the click around for 2 years thing, and they're tired. They finally want some help. When you go out there with an advertisement about a free class sounds horrible to a tire kicker until they're ready. And now they go, well, I finally should put my butt in the chair and learn how to do this, right? And so what we find is that we can often get these to contract in like 45 days. I mean, you'll do this sometimes and like have a webinar on Tuesday, put them under contract on Saturday because they're tired. And as soon as you show them how to do it, they're like, let's roll, okay? So a little bit of housekeeping rules. As we get into the funnel itself, I want you guys to really focus here and take some notes. Please turn your cell phone on Do Not Disturb and give this your undivided attention. You really owe it to yourself to do that and take some notes as well, excuse me. Make sure that you engage with us in the chat. If you have a question, the team is here, okay? So we're here for you. We're watching the chat and we want to make sure that you, if you're struggling getting into school or something like that, please let us know because we need you to have all your resources. Q&A is going to be at the end. We shoot for 30 days. Sometimes we go, or 30 minutes. Sometimes we go a little bit long. If you upgraded to VIP, know that the recordings will upload after about 1.5-ish hours at the end of each day. We have to pull that video down, re-encode it, and re-upload it to the training platform. So give us a little grace on that. If you paid for VIP and it hasn't yet been triggered, please let the team know and they can go and trigger that while we're sitting here, okay? All right, so drop a 1 mil in the chat. You don't have to do it right now, but this is your reminder as we get in here and you have a moment of inspiration or clarity or you really learned something, that's how you let us know that, hey, that was awesome. What do you know about sales funnels already? It's okay if the answer is not a whole heck of a lot. Go to the chat box and tell me, nada, a little, okay, not much, a little bit, rough basics, I'll take that. Okay. So listen, we're gonna explain this in terms of the webinar funnel. We use the webinar funnel as an example of a really good sales funnel. So what is the webinar funnel itself? A webinar funnel is a sales funnel, which all that means is that we are going to go out there with a message. And we're going to take this message to some people who don't know us yet. And we take this message to them and we say, hey, here's what we have. And at the top of the funnel, we have a certain number of people who are kind of lightly engaged. They're curious, right? But as they move down the funnel toward closing, the funnel gets smaller. We have to talk to a lot of people at the top so that we can get enough people to move through the funnel and get down to the closing level. Our job as funnel builders, your job and mine, is that we want to keep that funnel as wide open as we possibly can. We're never going to save everybody, right? But the better our content, the better our methods as we go down the funnel, we can keep that hole at the bottom wider so that more closings fall out, yeah? Now, the webinar funnel special, this is unique in this way, because in the webinar funnel, the webinar acts as the lead magnet, which means the webinar was the thing that got them attracted to us to begin with. So that was the thing that they go, oh, that sounds interesting. But then also the webinar itself is the conversion method. So remember we talked about that, what happens over those 60 minutes. They don't know you from Adam at minute 0. But at minute 3, they decided that maybe you're okay and they'll give you a few more minutes. At minute 8, they think you're a nice person. By minute 25, they think that you know everything about real estate. And by minute 50, they want to sign up on your calendar. Yes, that's that transformation. So the webinar is the magnet, but it's also the conversion method, which is really, really unique. Okay. Now it starts with driving traffic to your webinar landing page. This is where we're going to collect their information via a form so that they can turn into a lead in your CRM, okay? So we're gonna show you what this looks like. Don't worry, you don't have to follow these concepts via, verbally. Instead of having to call leads and attempt to convert them one by one. A webinar allows you to sell to many at one time. Instead of selling one-to-one, which is mostly listening to the phone ring in 2026, and it's very inefficient. Yes, it takes hours and hours and hours. Might be comfortable, but it still sucks. Yeah, mathematically it sucks. Even if you like it, it still sucks. Now, what this allows you to do is have that same conversation, but have it one time with 50 people in the room or 100 people in the room. Now, at the end of the live webinar, you're going to pitch your offer. That is a free consultation, and you're going to show them how easy it is to book a call with you. And remember, this happens after they've spent 50-ish minutes with you. They feel like they know you, they trust you. And so a certain percentage of those people are going to say, heck yes, I want some of your time. I want to talk to you one-on-one. Here's what it looks like for my visual learners in the room. We're going to put money in the top of the funnel because remember, we need traffic. Traffic is something that we're going to have to buy. So let's talk about traffic really quick. I'm going to recommend that you stick with Facebook and Instagram ad traffic. There's a reason for that. Their algorithm keeps getting better and better and better. And so when I go and, I like to test things, I waste a bunch of money testing this and testing that because I'm just, a tinkerer by nature, right? So I've tested TikTok. I have tested YouTube. TikTok has a slightly lower cost per lead than Facebook, but a drastically lower quality in my limited experience. Don't sue me, TikTok. And then YouTube has a slightly higher quality lead, but a drastically higher cost per lead. So the numbers don't work anymore. And so Facebook and Instagram are the sweet spot and continue to be. Their algorithm keeps getting smarter, and they really do try to make you win here. They try to help you get good leads so that you'll spend more money with them. We're going to take money, and we're going to put it in the top of that funnel by paying Facebook, Instagram, one company, one dashboard, some money. They're going to hand us back some traffic, some people who they think would click on our ad. A certain percentage of those people are going to click. Now, the better the ad, the higher the click through. So your ad creative really does make a difference. A good ad is going to pull away more people. Now, then you have the next level, which is that traffic that clicked on the ad. A certain number of them are going to read the whole thing. They're going to love what you had to say, and they're going to click through to your website. Okay. Now, once they're on your website, this is a landing page. We're not going to send them to your existing website because your existing website, I'm sure it's amazing, but there's too many competing calls to action. Think about this. If you were to go look at your website right now, you probably have an average of like 10 to 12 calls to action. Search for homes, find out what your home is worth, get pre-approved, read my blog. And your blog's awesome. I want them to read your blog. Tomorrow. Today, I need them to do one thing, which is to sign up for the webinar. So we're going to send them to a new page that only has one job and one job only, and that's to get their information, get them excited about the webinar, and boom, now we got a lead. Now, not everybody who signs up for the webinar is going to show up to the webinar. You're going to get a few text messages right before the show starts. And they're going to say, I forgot we had church tonight. It looks like I've got to work late. Is there a replay? So as we talked about, see this funnel, it gets smaller as people get closer and closer to closing with you. So then we have our live webinar. We're going to do roughly 55 minutes of content. We're going to have that call to action where they book onto our calendars. And then we're going to hang out and do Q&A for a while, which is where we're going to book even more appointments. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. So in the live webinar, not everyone is going to book onto your calendar. Let's be honest, a few of these folks already have realtors. A few of them hear you talk about what's required to buy a house and they realize it's never going to happen for them, so they don't book an appointment. Not everybody should book an appointment with you, but about 20% is where we'll set your expectation, and then 20% of the room will book onto your calendar. Now, when you get more confident about your presentation, when your presentation itself gets better, when the timing gets tighter, you will notice that you should be able to bump that up past 20%. I'm very regularly over 20%, and there's no reason that you can't be either. So you have all of these consultations that just got booked on your calendar. Not all of those are going to turn into closings, but ask every one of them for a referral. Write that down, okay? They already love you. In fact, write this down. I'm going to say this about 20 times during our work together. The biggest thing that you have to get through your skull that's different than the way that you have done business before where you had to chase people, write this down. They already think you're awesome. I want you to write that down word for word and underline it 3 times. They already think you're awesome. After that webinar, you don't have to use a script on them. You can have a normal adult conversation. They feel like they know you. There's no need to keep selling this person. They're sold, they're in the bag, let's go, okay? So ask them all for a referral. They already think you're awesome. What's true is that they walk themselves through your sales funnel, and then once that engine is built, you just need to fuel it with gas. As you start to see this money come back in the house that you spent on Facebook and Instagram, as you start to see these commissions being realized, then you can kind of dial up your ad budget because this thing becomes very scalable. Don't create too many leads. There is such a thing as having too many leads. We'll talk about that more in depth. But FYI, you can go as big as you want to as long as you have enough help to facilitate the deals, okay? All right, so this is what it looks like. We're gonna take Facebook and Instagram ad traffic. Facebook and Instagram are one company. I don't know if you know this, it's called Meta. So you don't have to like learn 2 different platforms. We advertise in one place, one click, it goes to all of their Meta-owned properties. So we're gonna take Facebook and Instagram ad traffic. We're gonna send that traffic to the landing page. Remember, not your website. It is a very simple landing page that we have already designed for you. Please write this term down. This is, now you're a real marketer. Now you're really talking in marketing language. High converting. High converting. I don't need it to be sexy. I don't need it to be slick. I don't need it to have a video or motion graphics. What I need it to be is slow, loud, and clear so they put their information in and hit submit before the phone rings or the baby cries, okay? So high converting is what we're going for. Now, what we have is a lead, and that lead goes to the back end of our CRM. And our CRM now has a job to do, which is to get them to actually show up to the webinar. It is one thing to get someone to say yes to your webinar. It's another thing to, with all their different priorities and pulls on their time, actually show up Wednesday night at 6:30, put their butt in the chair and watch. And so what we have to do is we have to remind them repeatedly. We have to use a couple of different channels. Email alone in 2026 is not going to get it. You're going to have to use texting as well. So we've built into our CRM a text thing where it actually texts them from a real 10-digit phone number that looks like it's coming from your cell phone. Okay, you have to have that, otherwise your show up rate is not going to be what you want, which means your numbers for the whole project won't be as good as they could have been. Now it's webinar nights. Spotlight goes on, camera goes live. Here come the people. What are you going to do? The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to host on a platform. We can either do Zoom or we can do, there's a new one that's really cool that actually doesn't even require the person to download Zoom, which is really nice. That's been producing some really good results. We're always kind of tinkering with that stuff. But we want them to be on a platform that's really easy for them. We're going to host that webinar. We're going to set some settings up in a certain way so that we can have real good control over the room. I don't want somebody drawing on the screen. I don't want somebody unmuting themselves or any of that kind of shenanigans, right? I want you to be really confident so that you can just present knowing that everybody's behaving and it's taken care of. We're going to take the people who click on the link to book themselves onto your calendar, and we're going to route that through an integration with some calendar booking software. So they hit that booking platform. It's very easy for them to pick a date that is already synced up with your calendar. So this software is like basically a white labeled version of Calendly. So it's going to sync up with your calendar. It's going to see that you've got a spot open at a certain day. You can put some rules around it, not booking too many appointments together. It's amazing. They're going to book onto your calendar. Yep. Now here's what it looks like, again, just to really cement this for everybody. We take our money, we pay Facebook and Instagram some money, not too much. By the way, if you want to know how much, here's my recommendation. The recommendation for your first webinar is like 300-ish bucks, okay? The reason I don't want you going too crazy is because we're still getting our arms around like your numbers and what ads people really respond to in your market. And then if we're satisfied with the numbers, then we can dial it up slowly. And then you'll run $500 webinars. And once that cash comes back in the house, if you want to go bigger like I do, then you are welcome to do that. Okay. So that's what it looks like there. We're going to give them that money. They're going to hand us back new eyeballs. If anybody in the room is thinking that you're just going to send this to your email list, let me like disavow of that notion right now, because nobody's email list is big enough for and has a response rate that will feed this machine. You have to get the right new eyeballs on your offer, or you're not going to give the machine enough gas to actually run. So you have to absolutely put some dollars behind advertising. It's really important. And the return on it's really good, as you'll see when we go to the ROI calculator that we built for you guys. Now, what does the client see? Because we've been focusing on what it looks like from you as a business owner's perspective. What the client sees is an ad that looks like this. Don't worry about copying this down yet, because we're going to give you that template on ad day on Thursday. And we're going to walk you through what makes a really killer Facebook ad and what makes that meh Facebook ad for getting webinar signups. So they're going to click on that Facebook ad. They're going to go to a simple landing page. They're going to put in their contact information. Now, when they do that and they hit this submit button here, this register button, they become a lead in your CRM. So we're looking at it from the front end, the client perspective. Now, on the back end, what just happened is you got a lead when they hit submit. Also, there's going to be an opt-in so that you can text them, okay? Because you want that coverage, making sure that you have documentation of the fact that you got them to say yes to be able to communicate with them like that. What happens after they register is they're taken to a thank you page. This is called the confirmation page. And it lets them know, hey, it worked, you're registered. But then also you can do some cool things with this page. You can do an invite a friend button. So now they can invite their friends and they can give you some free leads. Those leads, you'll see them come in tagged as invite a friends. You could also put a video here where you're like, hey, thanks for registering. Here's what we're gonna do on Thursday night. So you can kind of deepen that connection with them. There's a million things that you can do and kind of play with there. Now it's Thursday night, 7 o'clock. You are going to hold a really killer presentation. You're going to do it mostly screen share. We'll go over all of that on Wednesday. I'll teach you how to cue the laughs, cue the tears with the formula that we have, and how to book the most number of appointments using this software booking tool, which is right here. That takes them to consultation, and then it's your job as a salesperson to move them from consultation to closing. Don't be surprised if you have people go to contract the same week, okay? In fact, I want to hear from you whenever it happens to you for the first time. All right, so let's go deeper, because I know we want to zoom in and go deeper on all of this. So when we think about top of the funnel, you know that we're going to run Facebook ads in the target market. We're going to promote that live webinar. We're going to make it say something that really speaks to the avatar that you've chosen. So my ads, since I work with first-time homebuyers because I love them, they're going to look really different from maybe Nicole's ads. I'm picking on Nicole right now because maybe Nicole wants to work with sellers, right? So we're going to hone that messaging so that it sort of disqualifies everybody else, but is a dog whistle to the right people, right? Where people who don't, like, we don't want anybody on the webinar who's not a potential client. So we want people to sort of disqualify themselves, and we want the right people to go, hey, they're talking to me. I'm a potential seller. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that ad traffic and we're going to send it to the landing page that is very simple. It has the details of the webinar, all the reasons you should show up, but nothing extra. You'll notice when we get to the landing page, there aren't any links outside of any like mandatory disclosure links that we need to put on there. You don't want to give them any options to go off of that page. You want them to submit your information, their information, before they get distracted. That's why that page is so simple, even a little bit homely. We don't want it to look cool. We want them to get their stuff in and get out of there. The landing page doesn't have any distractions on there. The only button directs them to submit that form. That is how we optimize the landing page to submit or to convert at its highest. Now, once they submit the form, they're going to be taken to the confirmation page. This is what we also call the thank you page. They mean the same thing, those two terms: confirmation page, thank you page. At the same time, they're going to be put into a reminder sequence in the CRM. So think about how smart this is. What they saw was registering on the landing page. What you see is notification that a new lead just came in. Cool, awesome. What happened automatically that you didn't even see is that now they're put into a workflow, an automation that says, okay, this is a webinar lead for Tuesday. Let's see what reminders we have left to send out for Tuesday. And it sends them the right reminders based on the actions that they have taken or not taken. So when you go into the back of the CRM, you'll see all of these different automations. We'll show you tomorrow for people who registered but then weren't able to attend, for people who attended but didn't choose to book a call, because those people need a different set of messages, etc. For people who did book a call, now they need reminders about their consultation with you on Friday, right? So the system has to be really smart. All of that stuff is already built out for you and you don't have to program it. Now, those links, those reminders are going to have in those texts and emails, they will have links to the webinar. So one hack, if you want to really improve your show up, is make sure that everything you send them has a link to the Zoom meeting or that other platform, the webinar link itself, right? The session, because we want them to be able to, even if they're driving, I know it's not best practice, but like, hey, I'm late for that thing. What was it? Where was it? I want them to be able to find it in 5 seconds, not get frustrated, and be able to click that link and be in the room in the next 30 seconds. Yes, make it stupid, simple, easy. Now, webinar time, you're going to host that webinar via Zoom or the other option that we're super excited about. You're going to host the hour-long webinar. Write this down. You're going to do it on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday at 7 p.m. your local time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. local time. I'm going to ask you to stick to this formula in the beginning, and then you can kind of play with it after you have a whole bunch of commissions coming back into the house. But right now, to preserve your cash and your results and your highest chance of success, you need to stick to this formula. Let me tell you what happened when I ran a webinar on a Saturday. I got lots of leads. Lots of people said yes to that webinar. What do you think the show up on Saturday was like? Just from being a person, you don't have to be a psychologist. What happens to us on Saturday? It's not, what happened on Saturday is I thought I was going to be this person and get the garage clean and get this done. And what really happened was on Saturday, I'm like, I can't deal with anything. Yes. So my cost per lead, super low. My show up was disastrous. Mondays are too busy. Also, a little bit of nuance here. Make sure you take some market forces into consideration. Like, I run some webinars in Austin, Dallas, and San Antonio. In Dallas, Wednesday nights don't do well for me. And I was like, why don't Wednesdays do well in Dallas, but they do well in Austin? Dallas is a church city. I mean, a lot of us go to church in Dallas. And so my church has service on Wednesday night. So I would get all these messages saying, hey, I forgot we have church. Do you have a replay? So my show up was less. Don't go up against the Cowboys game. Don't go up against any kind of big event like that. Make sure you're good on the schedule, because you don't want to waste money on a time frame that is not going to deliver the ideal show up. Then after you spend that hour with them, you're going to transition to the pitch. And you're going to tell them that you're offering free consultations for a limited time, and you're going to drop that link into the chat. Your expectation should be that at least 20% of those people book onto an appointment. If you're coming in under 20 for a couple of webinars in a row, we got something going on with your performance, with your presentation, or your timing. Oftentimes it's just down to the timing. Now, they're going to book an appointment via your built-in calendar software. And so whether that's Calendly or the one that's in our CRM, you got to make it really easy for them to go pick an appointment, get onto your schedule, and then you get a notification whenever you get that appointment come in. During the free consultation, you can pitch them on some things that make them feel even more comfortable. Like the VIP Home Buyers Program, that's something that my mentor, Brad Vanderwall, who introduced me to the webinar funnel, has decided to donate to you guys for free. So that's going to be found in your day 5 resources. We'll talk about it on Friday. It's basically a way, because Brad's from Canada, and they've been doing buyer reps in Canada for 9 years, mandatory. And I know that we're still kind of weird about them here, a little bit uncomfortable. This VIP home buyer program is a way for you to kind of wrap that buyer rep signing in sugar, put a little candy coating on it, and make it go down a lot easier, especially if you're a rookie, don't feel very confident in asking for those types of agreements. This will help you out. We'll talk about it on Friday. Now, let's talk about this from the perspective of an owner and not an agent or a loan officer. So we're going to put our agent and LO hat to the side. We're going to take that off. And the hat that we're going to put on is a business owner. A business owner talks about his or her business in completely different terms than somebody who's a sole practitioner and out there still hustling. A business owner is going to think in terms of some particular KPIs like ROI, return on investment. I have all of these different ways that I can advertise. But what happens if I put $1 in this machine, I only get $1 back? That's not good. I put $1 in this machine, I got $4 back. That's not great. I put $1 in this machine, I get $10 back. Now we're talking, yeah? Now, an owner also thinks in terms of CAC. If you don't know what that is, write this down, CAC, client acquisition cost. What did it take to put that closed client, what did it take to put that on the calendar? How many dollars? What is your CPL, your cost per lead? All of these KPIs are really important, and you can monitor your business and the health of it as you go along if you understand them. What we're going to focus on now is return on investment. So let's do some math. If we were to take a buyer webinar, which has the lowest cost per lead. Sellers are the highest costs, investors are in the middle, buyers are the cheapest because they're the most plentiful and they stay leads for a long time. So if we take $500 and we put it in the webinar machine, Facebook and Instagram, then we should get about 100 registrations back. Now there's some seasonality to this. Leads are really cheap right now because we're just coming off of Black Friday and Christmas. All that money has left the system. So a lot of people are getting leads like $3 and $4, right? Whereas Black Friday, I might have had to pay significantly more. So right now, average, we'll just call it for the year, $5 cost per lead for a buyer. So we've got 100 registrations for our $500. Not everybody's gonna show up. So we have a gross attendance target of 50 to 60%, write that down. If we have 60 people who actually get to see part or all of the webinar, we've got about an $8 cost per attendee. Not all of those people are going to book an appointment. Some of them figure out they can't do it. Some of them had a realtor, etc. Okay, fine, that's just sales. If we have 20% of the room book onto your calendar, then that equals about 12 appointments. That's about a $41 cost per appointment. And then when we look at how many deals come from that webinar, usually it's about 1 to 2 at that ad spend level. If you get 2, here's how it usually happens, in my experience, is that 1 pops really quickly, and then there's another one that's more of like a project, and you got to work on them for a while. They got to clean out mom's house. They've got to, get their credit up or whatever the thing is. And then, obviously these leads keep delivering for years and years. We only measure this in a 12-month basis, just so you can compare apples to apples. But FYI, when we look at the client acquisition cost, we see like for 1 deal, that's a $500 CAC. For 2 deals, if you got 2 deals, then you have a $250 CAC. So based on your commissions that are 5, 10, 15,000 out there, these are really good numbers and the ROI is really good. In fact, there is a calculator that if you have accessed the school platform and gone to Classroom, if you go to Challenge Resources, Day 1 Resources, you'll see that there's a software applet that the team wrote for you guys where you can go put your situation into the calculator and it will spit out what the average expected return on investment is for you and your type of lead. Go play with that. That's part of your homework tonight. Go see, just so you can kind of model that out for your business. All right, now we're gonna do, we're making good, oh dude, we're doing great. We're doing great. Okay, we're gonna do what's probably my favorite part of the evening. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to go to the chat box and I want you, don't do it yet, I want you to tell me who you want to work with. Let me give you some rules before you start blowing up the chat. I want you to pick one type of client avatar. Don't tell me sellers, buyers, investors, property management clients. I know you know how to serve and are licensed to serve everybody. Pick one, okay? And then pick one. No, wait, I swear, I love this. What do we call that? Offsides? Okay, before you put it in there, I want you to think about one more thing, and that is how niche do you want to go? So is it buyers in general? Is it first-time home buyers? Is it VA, first-time home buyers? You can go as niche as you want to or as general as you want to, but pick one type of avatar. Okay, I see a lot divorce sellers. I love that. Empty nester sellers. Who said, I can't make my meeting chat bigger. I don't know how to do it. I'm a new Mac person. Oh, there it is. That is, if I had to start my career over, I think I would do like empty nesters or folks going into assisted living, to put a sharper point on that. That's really juicy, and it's kind of one of those ignored part of the markets, if you ask me. New builds, I love it. First time buyers. Okay, so many options. Justin, okay, so if you're like Justin and you're like, hey, I have so many options, we're not putting this in Sharpie, okay? So you can change it tomorrow. But for our exercise tonight, I want you to pick the type of avatar that you want to work with. If you're deciding between 2 avatars, let me give you the tiebreaker. Which avatar is going to bring cash back into the house the fastest? Does that make sense? Choose the one that would bring cash back into the house the fastest, because the thing that's going to keep you going is seeing that bank account go up, right? Because you're going to spend some money on some advertising. Let's get that money back in the business as soon as possible. And that's going to be your big green light that, hey, this is working. And now you can master that one, create a separate funnel for your second type of avatar, if that makes sense. Okay, so what I want to do is this is going to be wild because we have a big room. I want to teach you guys some concepts about how to think about your webinar title, and then we're going to start writing. We don't need it to be good on the first draft. We're just going to get some ideas out and we're going to kind of sharpen them. I'm going to give you some feedback. What I would suggest that you all do is keep a little note doc open on your computer. If you're watching at a soccer game on the phone, don't sweat it. But if you have a computer that you're watching us on, or a piece of paper that you can write down some stuff on, I want you to watch the chat as we start writing. Because when we start writing, you're going to see some banger headlines that are created by your comrades here. We have how many people? I don't know. I've lost the participant thing. We got a lot of people. We have like 500 or 600 people in here. 600. Oh, I don't like that number. Somebody phone a friend. Get somebody in here. Okay, that's better. Okay, we have 665 people who are in here, and some of you guys are going to have some really amazing ideas, and I want you to capture them. We're going to have a workshop and figure out like, hey, what's the best one for you? But you're going to see that some amazing copywriting happens in this chat box. So be ready to copy and paste those or write them down. All right. So let me explain some kind of rules of the road here for you as you go to write your webinar topic. The first thing that we're going to do is we'll use buyers as an example. By the way, for all my high Ds in the room, sellers are on the next page. So relax. Home buyers. When we think about these different headlines that are on the screen, I'm going to read them and I'm going to teach you kind of the tricks that they're using here. Home buyers. Austin first-time home buyers don't make these mistakes when buying a home. Okay, so the first lesson that I want to impart here is the difference between fear of loss marketing and opportunity for gain marketing. So here's what I mean. I'm going to pick somebody. Okay, TC Cooksley. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything. It's going to be easy. I just need somebody to look at. I want you to play ball with me, okay? You don't even have to come off of mute. All right, so let me demonstrate the difference between fear of loss and the opportunity for gain. So TC, let's say TC and I are co-workers at the real estate office. Okay, TC, you and I are buddies. And what I'm going to say is, hey, TC, I've got an opportunity for you to earn 10 whole dollars. 10 big ones, TC. You see TC's face? She's like, how excited are you, TC, about the opportunity to earn 10 whole dollars? Like, it's not great, right? Doesn't even get you through the line at Chipotle anymore. Okay, what if instead of saying that, I said, on the way out the door, I said, hey, TC, I forgot to tell you, buddy, I took 10 bucks out of your purse. I'll see you later. Okay, now that has a lot more charge to it. Did you feel the difference? Isn't it the same doggone $10? Thank you, TC. I appreciate you. Thank you for playing ball. Okay, so what we just demonstrated is the fact that the fear of loss is about 3 to 4 times as motivating as the opportunity for gain. 10 bucks wasn't going to get me off the couch, but when you talk about taking it away from me, we're wired to fear loss. So use this, because if we talk about making mistakes and losing money, it tends to make people sit up straighter in their chair. Thank you for the 1 mil. Somebody's getting it. So see, you can leverage the power of words to leverage different results here. It's not the right answer every single time, but it is one of the tools that you have in your belt. Let's go to the next one. Stop renting and start owning. Austin Homebuyers class. That's what's called a story of transformation. That's not bad. Cool. Renting is a negative. Owning is a positive feeling. Okay, great. We've got both in one headline. No problem. From renter to Austin homeowner, learn the essentials in our masterclass. Cool, all positive. Now we've got a niche version. The niche is Austin VA loan home buyers. Now before we analyze the headline, what do you think is going to happen to the cost per lead if we go more niche? Will it go up or will it go down? It's going to go up, yeah? Does that mean it's the wrong choice? Not necessarily. It means we should test it against regular, home buyers. But since there are fewer people who would respond to VA loan home buyers, we will predictably see a bump in lead costs. However, now we've just really called out someone by a certain type of way that they identify themselves. Would it surprise me if the show up was higher on this webinar and that the closing was higher on this webinar? It wouldn't surprise me at all, okay? Just because we're gonna have to test it to see if that was the right call, but it could work in your favor. Test it both ways. Join our masterclass and learn how to navigate the home buying process, okay? All right, investors. Become a savvy Austin real estate investor with our comprehensive home buying masterclass. That's a little bit of a story of transformation. Austin Real Estate Investing 101. Learn the basics with our masterclass. That's all positive. This is our niche version. Investing in Austin Airbnb properties. Everything you need to know in our masterclass. Okay, so here's what our first exercise together is. You'll notice that we didn't have a fear of loss investor headline. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about investors in general, or a certain type of investor, and I want you to write right now. Don't worry about it being good, okay? It doesn't need to be good. We just need to get it out. This is how we learn. What I want you to do is I want you to write a fear of loss based headline for an investor webinar. Don't overthink it. What do they fear? What's the thing that they should fear? What are the ways that we can communicate that fear? And I'll give you some ideas too. Okay, I'm just going to call a few of these out. It's going to get wild. Okay, FISA says, oh my gosh, the winning bid, strategies to beat out multiple offers without overpaying. Okay, cool. I say it, oh my gosh, because my chat is bouncing around on me. Joanna says losing on your rent and property taxes. Okay, so that might be the hook. We need to finish that, okay? I think you got something though. Why you lost thousands on your last deal. Okay, what Kenny just did is what we would call a curiosity play. If somebody did lose thousands on their last deal, can they possibly not click on that? Like, if I have pain around that last loss, am I not gonna click on Kenny's headline? No, I'm clicking on Kenny's headline. It is very niche, but I think that you have a very attentive audience there. Don't leave your equity money on the table from Andrea. Too late, it's sold. Be ready for the next one. Okay, let's go tighter on being an investor. Okay, Barb said, don't overpay for the fixer you want to flip. Okay, I think we could probably massage that a little bit, but I understand what you're saying. And it's slow, loud, and clear. So I don't hate it at all. 5 deal killers for investors. That's a curiosity play. Yeah, because I want to know what the 5 deal killers are. Here's a tactic that you can use. Now you got to be able to back this up based on your experience or some way to calculate this, but you can go really specific. So one of the things that I've seen done well is you can run a webinar that says how to sell your home for more money in 2026 in Austin, or you could say how to sell your home for $20,643.72 more in Austin. And now go figure out how. Well, if we do professional photography, if we do staging, if we do this, maybe do some data around how much more you typically sell homes for than your competitor, you can be able, believe it or not, to justify numbers like that. Don't say something you can't back up because you might get called out on it. It's never happened to me, but I want to be able to edify that. But think about how much more interesting that specific number is and how much more curiosity it creates. Okay. Look. Okay, look at what Austin Southern just said. This is what we would call I don't think it's not risk reversal. It's more of like an anti-sell or a negative play. Austin real estate investors, is the stock market a better ROI? A realtor is helping me question whether the stock market might be better. If property isn't the best investment, that's a curiosity play. I would absolutely do this. Okay, this is getting really good. So you guys are kind of learning some of those things. You're standing up on your baby calf legs as a sales copywriter. Let's go to our next one, which is we're going to talk about listings. Sellers, how to save up to $50,000 on your next home purchase, or we could do something with some specificity to it. Yeah. If we wanted to trigger fear of loss, but the same idea, all we've got to do is move a few words around. How not to lose $27,643.73 when you sell your home this year, right? In Austin. Make sure you do say the city name. I say city, if you serve an area that's like greater than one city and it makes sense to say some other word like DFW, if it makes sense to say Central Texas based on your service area, then do that. Don't go too general, go as tight as you can that actually describes your practice. Because the tighter you are, the tighter you express your avatar's location, the more local and credible you sound, if that makes sense, okay? So I don't do well when I go out there and put an ad that says, Texas home buyers, how to save money. I can put that on my landing page. I can run ads in 5 different cities. I'm lazy, so I just have one version of the landing page, point them all to the same one, and I still convert, but I wouldn't do it in my ads. Okay, how to sell your home for top dollar in Austin. Don't make these mistakes when selling your home in Austin. Discover how Austin homeowners are selling their home for top dollar. Okay, cool. Now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna spend the next like 8-ish minutes writing your headline based on your particular avatar. And so this is the place where you've already seen some bangers in the chat. You know what I mean by banger? Like some good ones where you go like, ooh, I would totally click on that. You're a buyer, you're a seller yourself. So if you would click on it, write it down, because we can play with that. Even if it's for a different avatar, we'll bend it to make it work for you. But make sure that you write down those ideas, because you will not remember them tomorrow. If you can, highlight all of the chat and just save it to a Word doc or something. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit it. I'm gonna give you guys some time, and we're gonna just give feedback as it comes. If you see something that you like, put a little heart by it, so that we can scroll back up and see like, hey, here are some ones that we should look at, because they're really getting responses from our group. So I'm gonna start giving you guys feedback as you go. Feel free to give feedback in the chat as well after you're done with your own. We're gonna spend the next 8-ish minutes on this so that you guys can come out with a banger of a headline. If you have a question here as well about, if you have a question about writing your headline, we're gonna get to general Q&A here in just about 8 minutes. But if you're stuck and you don't know how to choose between 2 avatars or something, then I'll choose for you. Okay. Mary Lou says, so if I cover an area, I could do multiple ads reaching out to different communities for the same seminar. Yes, ma'am, you could. Yeah. Highest and best practice would be to have multiple versions of the landing page, so that it matches. If you had an Austin ad and a DFW ad, they all go to their own landing page. You do the same form. But I'm lazy, so I just put Texas on my landing page, because I advertise in so many places. Okay, what are your homes in Hawaii selling for? Is that for me, or is that for somebody else? Question, if you like one of these, but you are not sure how to speak it. Oh, okay, so like how to get the right emphasis on the right syllable? Is that what we're talking about? Kelly, tell me in the chat box. Then just highlight it and repost it, and I will say it out loud how I think it's to be said. Maybe I don't know either though. How to structure your best deal as a seller in 2026. Everything bagel for first-time home buyer in SoCal. That is a curiosity play. I have no idea what it means, but who doesn't like an everything bagel? I'll put a little heart by that one as well. There we go. Okay. Let's see. How first-time buyers are buying with less money down. Good. Okay. Yeah. Now, Sharon, what would be interesting? I know we get into some compliance stuff here. Could we go with a specific dollar figure? You'd have to back it up with the disclosure on that page, as long as you are, maybe on the ad as well. But it would be interesting to see how specific could you get it without tipping into some territory we don't want to be in. I have this is kind of a strategic, choice. But if you're a realtor, be open to getting your loan officer license later in the game, after sell some houses, because it's not really about the education. It is about, and it's not even about being able to pick up basis points, although you can. It is about being able to say a lot more things in your advertising. Gotta have disclaimers, but yeah, you can say a lot more. James says, sellers need to move fast. Let's talk about your home and how to prove saleability. Okay, cool. What they don't tell first-time home buyers until it's too late. That was Ed. I like that. That makes me want to click on it. Think you don't have enough money to buy a home? You might be wrong. Yeah, challenge me. That's good. Okay, these are great. Okay, I'm gonna skip down. Okay. I'm just gonna call out some ones that I think are awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna read for a second. Oh, wow. Look at what Chrissy said. I'm gonna mark this one as well. Inherited a home you don't want in Indiana. What to do next? Isn't that exactly the words that the people who are in this situation would use to describe their own sitch? It is. Your cost per lead, Chrissy, is going to be high. But I bet every one of those people, even if they didn't show up to the webinar, you call them, get them on the phone, and you're going to have a high closing ratio on that. because they want to be rid of that problem. And you said it exactly, slow, loud, clear, plain English there. I love it. Okay. Oh, I like what Daryl said. Daryl Best said, not buying your first home is getting more expensive. I kind of like that. Downsizing, this is a curiosity play. Downsizing from Sandy, using your home equity as retirement income. Interesting. I'll heart that one. Okay, Nahisha has a question. Are you saying that this niche topic should be the only one I do, or is it rotating topic, or is rotating topic still effective? I'm not saying you have to go niche. I am saying pick one avatar. I'm okay with it being more general. My question to you is, how niche do you want to be? But I would focus on one avatar, make that funnel profitable before I started trying all of these different avatars that gets technologically complex, and you don't sharpen your presentation because you're like doing sellers this week and buyers next week. That is not good. Don't be one of those folks that goes a mile wide and an inch deep. Okay, write that down. Focus on one, and every week you get better with converting those folks and speaking to those folks on presentation. This is good. There's some good stuff. Okay, I like the one about leaking money. Who was that? It was Fiza. Okay. I like Chris Davis, how veterans actually win with VA loans and what most lenders never explain. Maybe there's a way to frame that to get to the point a little bit faster. Like you could, ChatGPT is your friend, you guys. Basically, you could say, okay, Chris's is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 words. You go, ChatGPT, how do I get there in 10 words? And it'll give you 5 different options. And maybe they suck, but maybe there's one in there that actually would fit a little bit better. Less is more. Okay, are y'all digging this? Let me know. Don't say 1 mil. I'll have 1,001 mils. My chat will blow up. I do want to hear from you if you like this, if this is fun and helpful for you. How can your property sell for more within the same complex? That's interesting. It's very specific. So Soledad, if I were in an all condo market, if I were in a high concentration condo market, like let's say a Tampa or something where they're having problems selling condos and there's a lot of condos, then that would make a lot of sense. If I were in Round Rock in Austin, Texas, that I wouldn't do that. The concentration is just not high enough. Okay, this is really good. We got like 1 more minute and then we're gonna get into it. I want to get 1 more banger. Okay. Luke says, don't want your dream home to fall out of escrow. You need to avoid these 5 pitfall traps. I like where you're going, but here's the problem. You'll have to answer this. I don't know who you're working with. Does your avatar think that that's her problem? Or do we know it's her problem because we do a lot of deals and we're, nerds about this stuff and steeped in it all day long? If she doesn't think that's what her problem is going to be, then that's not the headline that's going to get her to click, okay? That could be a really cool follow-up tool. Maybe there's a PDF where you create, or a video that you create after you've got somebody in the funnel. They have a little bit more education to kind of deepen the relationship before they actually convert. Now that I think has legs. If she does know that that's her problem, then rock on. Yeah. Okay, cool. This is great. Okay, you're always paying a mortgage. Find out how to make it your own. Cool. These are awesome. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Y'all can keep it going as we go into Q&A, which we've got a full 30 minutes. So yay, we timed everything well. We are going to, if you have a question about your webinar topic, your avatar, who you should choose, you can by using the React button. And you can go ahead and get in line to ask those questions on voice. I'll be tipping back into the chat and answering some chat questions as well. As you guys get in line for questions, tonight, let me tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna do questions about this topic. We're gonna do questions about anything like, hey, I don't totally understand the funnel in general. How does this piece hook up with that piece? What do you do here? Let's not do technical questions because we're going to wait until the tech guy is here. If you have an actual tech question where you can't log into school or something, ask that in the chat because the whole team is answering there. If you have a big strategic question, that's appropriate for tonight. If we have some content coming up later in the week, if you ask that question, I tell you, hey, like I've got 10 minutes on that on Friday. Just stay tuned and I'll give you a little bit of something for it tonight. But that's what we're going to do this evening, is kind of focus on the big picture stuff that we learned, and also about how to title those topics. Those are the questions that I'm inviting particularly tonight. While you guys get in line to ask, what your of your homework. Yes, you have homework. By the way, when I give you homework, it's always something small and Mickey Mouse, okay? Because I know you already worked your butt off all day and then you've been here with me for 2 hours. So it's always something that you can take care of very quickly. So the homework for tomorrow, you can do this tonight or you can do it tomorrow morning before you get into class, before you get into class tomorrow night, is I want you to sign up for the free 7-day trial of the webinar CRM, okay? Because tomorrow is Tech Day and we're going to roll up our sleeves and put our hands in the CRM live together. So it's not just like learning, taking notes tomorrow. You're actually going to be editing your landing page, putting your pretty picture on there, changing your headline, disclosures on there if you want to. You can build it out. We're going to also work on your subdomain, which is basically, we have to give the internet a place, an address to put in the URL, like address bar, to get to your webinar and not Brad's webinar. We're going to take care of that tomorrow. It's very practical and it goes fast. Okay, so make sure that you have access to that CRM via taking advantage of the free trial that we're giving you for 7 days. After 7 days, it's $85 a month. I know a lot of you are going to ask me about like, hey, should I ditch my old CRM? Here's my recommendation. Run both of them for a month or two, and you'll probably fall so madly in love with the webinar CRM because of how much more powerful it is than an off-the-shelf real estate tool. This thing's just bigger and better, and you could sell books, you can hook a Stripe account up to it, make money, you can sell coaching, you can do whatever you want to in this thing. It's friggin' amazing. It's the big marketing suite that's built for the rest of us, because a lot of the big marketing suites are like very tech heavy. So run both of them for a little while, and then, you know, a lot of you will want to bring all of your contacts over, and yes, you can. Okay, hit that link that's in the chat box. If you're watching this on the recording, then what you can do is go to school, classroom, and then in the resources links for day 1, you'll see the webinar CRM free trial sign up thingy. Okay, all right, so let's do this. And by the way, you are welcome to create a post inside of school letting us know that you did your homework. And also, if you have any questions about, like after tonight, if you have questions, if you want to ask like, hey, did I do this right? Hey, is this, I need help with XYZ. School on the community wall, go make a post. Don't send me a DM. I don't read them, okay? Don't send me a DM. Don't send the tech guy a DM. We don't read them. Instead, what I want you to do is make a post. The whole tech team reads those. Plus, somebody else probably has the same question, and they can learn from your question. What's waiting for you inside the webinar CRM, you're going to see how these leads move themselves through the pipeline stages automatically. That's super cool. You're going to see that high converting funnel. It has the high converting landing page, plus confirmation page, replay page, join now page, booking page, plus all the full email and SMS sequences that you're going to need to get those people to actually show up. You don't have to write them because they're already written for you. And also you'll see that calendar booking system and lots more. Hit that link in the chat to start your free 7-day trial. I am going to invite questions. I see we have Jeff and 5 others who've raised their hand. I'm going to take voice questions and then I'm going to pop back into the chat and answer some chat questions as well. So let's do this. I am going to go over to my chats. I think Livette is actually first for me. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to hit a button that asks you to unmute. I'm going to give you a few seconds to unmute. Hopefully you can find that button. It's way more fun for me if you have your camera on, but no pressure if you're in a situation. Livette, you're going to be our first one. So start us off with a banger. What's your question?
I just wanted to know which one of these, or maybe neither one of them sound good. One is resizing, because they don't say downsizing anymore. They said that the new term is resizing your seller potential. And the other one is leveraging your equity and get the home that you want, or get the, I think I don't know, I don't want to say better fit, because if they're downsizing, maybe the house was too big and they can't age in place. And so they want to get a place that fits.
So, you know, one of the themes that I kind of notice every time when we do this exercise in the chat box is that some of the bangers usually use like 5th grade reading level, you know? So things like leverage and downsize and things like that, you know, remember the first place they're going to be introduced to this idea, Livette, is going to be in the Facebook ad. And the way that that works is just like how you and I scroll Facebook, like this, right? So they're going to scroll past it. the question is, did we create something that their brain processes and then makes them want to scroll back down and go, what was that? And so we may have to make it more simple. Who do you want to work with? Wave a magic wand. What is their situation?
A person who's downsizing, like they lived in their homes, they raised their children, the house is too big, and they can't do the stairs anymore, and they want a one-level property. They want to move.
Cool. So I think we could try this a few ways. And now that you're a marketer, I've crowned you a marketer. Everybody in here is a digital marketer now. Okay, congratulations. You didn't know you were getting another job today, but you are. And your number one law as a digital marketer, please write this down, is test, test, test. Test. I see some people not writing. I swear to you, this is, put it on a stone tablet. Test, test, test. Because you know why, Livette, all the sort of cute stuff that I come up with that I'm convinced is going to work is not what actually ends up delivering the best cost per lead and the best results. So think about some options that we could run here. I think I would literally create a version of this that says sick of stairs. Because that's her actual problem, is the knees, right? Yeah. I think that another thing is, you know, what if we played with this? I don't know. We might have to run this by the fair housing guy. But what if we played with the whole boomer idea? You know, because we're talking about people who are referred to by popular culture as boomers. Yes, we're like 60s. We have this change. You know, are you a boomer baller who needs to get rid of her stairs and get a condo? I don't know. Like, think about like what would actually get someone to go, hey, that's me. Maybe make them laugh a little bit, and then scroll back down. I think if you go to ChatGPT and you say, hey, listen, here's the person I'm actually speaking to. Her needs are that she needs to get rid of the stairs. Her situation is that she's got a bunch of equity because she bought a house when houses were $1, and she's been in there for 30 years, and now she's basically a millionaire and can do whatever the hell she wants to. Yeah, like that's what we're saying. So I go to ChatGPT or Claude. Claude is a slightly better copywriter in my experience, and you can kind of go play with both. Say, hey, give me 10 ideas. Make sure they're no more than 12 words, and make sure that they're at no reading. Let's see what they come up with.
Okay, so one more question. So in the fact that a lot of baby boomers have a lot to spend, so they're competing with the Gen X's and the Gen Z's, they're trying to buy and it's too expensive. However, the boomers have so much money so that they can outbid them. Or I wanted to speak to that somehow, and I think too. So should I just put that in?
Talk it through, and then maybe run it through the fair housing filter, because now we're talking about age stuff. So I want to make sure we're compliant, not just cool. But yeah, I think it's got legs. Let's do it. All right, I'm gonna have to pick up the pace. Absolutely, that was fun. I'm gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit because I'm gonna try to knock out as many of these questions as we can, and we got 11 people in line. Let's go to JP. What's up?
Hey, thank you so much. I just had a question. I'm just getting started. Cool. And what I'm interested in is anybody's feedback, yours, and anybody else, as far as selecting an avatar, selecting a market where it's active, they're urgent, and it's something that that people are prepared to do business.
So are you just getting started as a baby realtor or baby LO? What's the situation?
Actually, both. Okay. As an LO, and I'll be licensed as a realtor in just about 2 weeks.
Okay. So I think you talk to your mentors there, and if you don't have one, get one, because I don't know what your market is, and I wouldn't want to fake an answer for you. I would say, hey, listen, I need cash to come back in the house as quickly as possible. If you're in Maryland, where we still have a listing shortage, then probably sellers might be the answer, although that's going to be a higher cost per lead. If you're in Texas, listings would not be the answer because our listings are taking a while to sell here, right? So I think be very pragmatic about this. Talk to your mentors and go, if we could wave a magic wand, who would I work with that would bring in the cash the fastest back into the business? Because that is what's going to give you the confidence to say, hey, I got income coming in. I can dial this up, spend more money on ads, go bigger, and then maybe try a few different avatars. That is my very simplified answer, but I think it's the right one. Let's go to Dan. What's up, Dan?
Hi. Thank you for taking my question.
Absolutely.
So I'm getting into this. I'm fairly new with it, and my question is my biggest fear is that you plan all of this and then there's something going on that distracts and smokes you out because people are focused on something else. So
Tell me more. Give me an
resources,
example about what you mean.
well, games, national or local events.
Yep.
I guess I'm curious what resources you use to double check your schedules to make sure you're not trying to plan a webinar on top of another event.
I mean, where are you located?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Okay. So what's the baseball team everybody watches? What's the football team? What's the college?
Yeah, 49ers,
Yeah. Okay. So don't go up against the 49ers.
Texas
They probably
State.
mostly play on Sunday, right? We wouldn't do a
Kings.
webinar on Sunday anyway because the show up would suck. So that's probably okay. Anything like that, I think just check what the schedules are. Here's what I'll tell you. Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was thinking about asking ChatGPT, but I didn't know if that was a good idea.
Hey, I think that's a great idea. I'm in Sacramento. If somebody were going to peel off attendees, if some event were going to peel off attendees and make for a crappy show up night, what would it be? I think that's a great idea. But don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. So, I ran webinars even during Black Friday. My lead cost was high. When I did the numbers, it still made sense for me. My return on investment goes down because my leads aren't as cheap during that time of year, but I still wanted deals. And so it still made sense to spend that money. Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Let's go to Raquel. I really do have to speed up because I want to take care of everybody. What's up, Raquel?
Hi, thank you for taking my question. I'm fairly new into this and about 3 years in, so I target mainly first-time home buyers, but I'm licensed in Wisconsin and Illinois. So what would be a good way to target both of them on the marketing side?
Do you want to? Why do we want to target both of them initially?
I'm right on the border of both.
Interesting.
So I equally get enough leads on both sides. But I get an equal amount from both sides.
Is there any difference in terms of how quickly those buyers tend to go under contract?
No.
Okay.
Really.
So is there also another identifier? So like in Northeast Texas, where Oklahoma comes together with Arkansas and Texas, we call it the Arklatex, right? Is there any local regional reference word like that?
From Illinois, a lot of Illinois is moving to Wisconsin because of taxes are too high in Illinois.
Okay, so there's no like reference word, but what we said is that there's one direction is hotter than the other.
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you? I think you can. I want you to test. You could do a small ad set where you basically test that message. Are you leaving Illinois for Wisconsin or whatever? I don't. There's Texas and not Texas, so forgive my public school education. Are you leaving this state for that state? How to do it the right way. I think as far as where do you drop your map dot and what do you call the actual webinar on the landing page? If Wisconsin has the lower taxes and that's where we're going, and I would identify myself as a Wisconsin home buyer, then do Wisconsin. Because otherwise I think it gets too muddy. Good question. That was a fun one. Let's go to Jeff.
Am I unmuted? Yes.
I can hear you though. You're good.
Okay. So I've got a couple questions. The first, and they should be easy answers. So the text that you guys that gets sent out, the reminders to the webinar, do those actually come from my cell phone number, or are you going to give us each?
Great question. So tomorrow we're going to talk about that, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get an approved phone number. Now it's cheap. It's like $2.50. The texting costs some money, about a penny a piece. But the approval process is what we're going to hit on, because we want to start that process because sometimes it takes a couple of weeks. So you used to just be able to buy a phone number, but what happened, I'll explain it more tomorrow, is that the government cracked down on the carriers, and the carriers created this process that we now have to go through. And so I'll teach you guys how to do that process tomorrow and get a phone number that looks like it's coming from a cell phone near you. Good question. Let's go to Austin.
I get it. It's not my number.
Yeah, it won't come from your cell. Yeah, we won't cross the streams there.
Okay.
What's up, Brad?
What's up, Austin?
Austin from Northern Virginia. One of the books on my shelf behind me is $1 Million Real Estate Team. Thank you for that.
Wow, that's cool.
Appreciate it. Yeah. We hit 2 mil GCI this year. So
Let's go.
my question is, do you find that CPL is scaling with price point? We're in like the DC Metro, so we have a high price point, right? Do you find that it's pretty much the same ratio?
No, and it's weird. So I know a guy, I was talking to a guy who was running buyer webinar ads in San Francisco proper. That's where he dropped his MapDot, and he was getting $2.50 leads.
Whoa.
And I go, how like sometimes I don't know if it's just about the radical amount of traffic. Is it that you know, we find these little pockets where you just don't have any competition with the message?
Might be.
It's kind of, I won't say random. I will tell you that when so I practice in a couple of different markets in Texas. Austin has a higher average price point, even though our market sucks right now. Austin has a higher average price point than DFW, and my leads in DFW are 35% cheaper.
Got it. And then secondary to that, you know, we do have a team. I don't want to give it to everybody, but is it scalable as far as frequency of webinar?
Different avatar every time, then the answer is no. If you have 3 different agents hosting buyer webinars, the answer is yes.
Okay.
However, remember when we look at the numbers, like a great Facebook ad gets 3% conversion. Like that sounds low, but that's killer. If 3 out of 100 people come through there and actually go to that landing page, baby, we got us a good ad. Like that's enough traffic to build a good business on. Now, that means that 97% of the other people that Facebook identified as a likely clicker didn't click because we didn't say something that meant something to them. So let's say that you got 3 different agents in that office. Could they all run buyer webinars? Yes, they could. But what I would do is I would probably make them a little bit more niche, and I would figure out, okay, who is your client? What's your hook? Who is your avatar? Like, even though they're both buyers, they're different types of buyers. That's probably what I would do so that we could create some separation there and then make the branding look different as well.
Got it. Done. Thank you.
Good. Let's go to Richard. I love this. Man, this is a quality crew. Don't let us down, Richard. Keep it going. What's up? Somebody bring me back Richard, because we took his hand down, but he wasn't unmuted. So I got to find Richard.
No.
There we go.
I'm back. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were handling that. I understand my responsibility and my questions associated with.
I'm sorry, buddy. You're going in and out, so I'm not able to hear it. Here, let's try again with Richard. Maybe I think we got a little Wi-Fi issue. Maybe you can ask it in chat. Let's if you can find Richard, we'll put Richard on.
It's in chat in case you want to get it.
Okay.
There.
Okay. Will somebody from the team highlight that for me? DM it to me or WhatsApp it to me so that I can actually get to that, because my chat's bumping around too fast. But I do want to answer your question, so I want to make sure that I get to it. Okay. Let's go to Dr. Abina.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I have 2 quick questions. One, how many times a month do you think we should do the avatar? That's my first quick question.
Okay. How many times a month do I think you should hold a webinar or change?
Yes, we should do a webinar.
Okay, Great question. So here's my answer, and this is for everybody. My recommendation for most people is that you start off doing 2 webinars a month. And the reason is because if you go really hot and go weekly, then what's going to happen is you create a situation where you don't have an off week to service those clients and follow up with people who were on webinars previous. We create too many new leads. And you think, oh, that's whatever, I can handle anything. Too many new leads is not a problem. It becomes a terrible problem. So every other week is my advice to you. What was question number 2?
So question number 2, I'm a licensed mortgage broker and real estate broker, but I'm asking you questions from a mortgage broker side.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, when we choose an avatar, is that like a single subject that we're going to use, or every month can we change avatars because we want to change one of the topics? So if I want to change a topic, a month in reverse mortgages. I want to do a month in first time home buyer loans. I want to do a month. You know what I'm saying?
Here, I don't want you, so you could do that. And you could change avatars, and the avatar is the person, right? Who is this character? Sometimes we'll give them a name, like so that we can like understand hopes and dreams and kind of write copy around them, right? I would, if I were you, practice one avatar. I'd be disciplined here. Don't go a mile wide and an inch deep. If you will practice one avatar who has the highest likelihood of bringing cash back into the house the fastest, that gives you license to reach up to that next avatar. Does that make sense? You got to think about it like a business person, not an LO. Reverse mortgage is going to be great, but it's going to have a super high cost per lead. And if you do that in month 2 and you don't have any money coming back in from month 1 yet, it's going to discourage you and you're going to bail on the project. Stick with one, figure out which one you've had most success with and getting them to the closing table the fastest so that we can get that cash coming back in the house. Very good answer. Very good question.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Linda. This is so much fun. I could stay here till the cows come home. What's up, Linda?
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Linda from Pennsylvania. What about a guest speaker? I'm all about guest speakers.
Great question. Are you a loan officer or a realtor?
I'm a realtor owner.
Okay. So on Friday, we are going to talk about partnering with other vendors and also co-hosting. And I've seen co-hosting done wrong about 10 different ways. I've seen it done right 1 or 2. And one of the ways that I've seen it done really well is a rotating cast of people. But here's the thing, to get in my chair, guess what you do? Yes, exactly. You're going to pay. Now we got RESPA, but there's a lot of people who aren't affected by that, right? And we can always sell brand impressions or time, et cetera, something more tangible. But if I'm a realtor, I'm going to put some strings around that. Obviously, you're going to pay. You're going to sponsor if you're going to be that rotating cast. It's not just talent. So yeah, you're thinking about this in the right direction. By the way, I have a great version of that for loan officers. It looks a little different. Somebody hold me accountable on Friday. I'll give it to you. It's the smartest thing you've ever heard. I didn't come up with it. It's genius. So let's go to Rosa.
Hi,
Hey.
I'm a realtor. I've been 20 years in the business and I specialize, or my niche is investors. And I also fix and flips homes. So I'm divided whether I should target buyer investors or seller investors. So as an avatar for the webinars, what would you recommend?
So if we were to look at this totally unemotionally and say, who have we had the quickest, easiest wins with in the past? The quickest cash coming back in the house, what's the answer?
Sellers.
Okay, there you go.
Sellers.
Cool. If that still bears true in today's different market, if that's still who you would go to, if we had a gun to our head and we had to crank out 30 grand because somebody's got our kid, like what kind of deals are we going to go do? Then follow that money first. If that's not your favorite type of investor, consider this like, hey, this is what I got to do to get to those other people, but get that money coming back in the house. I'm going to go to, very good question though. Okay, so the previous question that we weren't able to hear before, I have it here on chat. It says, I understand you're getting esoteric questions on webinars associated with specific buyers or sellers, but what about marketing seminars 100% exclusively aimed at financing a purchase or refinance of existing property anywhere in a state versus seminars geared only to buyers and sellers of a property in a particular city? Yes. Okay. So here's the trade-off. So if you're probably a loan officer, right? If you ask that, that's realtors, the answer is more clear because we are geographically fenced in by where we can drive to show property or list property, et cetera. Lenders have a license that covers the whole state. And so what I would say is, yes, you could run a Texas-wide ad, but the word Texas is not going to get as good of a click-through and a conversion. So it would be better to test a bunch of different ads, ones like Amarillo, test Lufkin, test Houston, whatever, and then see what the click-through is and which one of those gives you leads. And you can service all of those people. You could have 10 different landing pages if you want to, or you could be lazy like me, just run a bunch of different ads to the same one. But I wouldn't just say the state. I would go the distance of creating an ad for each individual one. All right, we got to speed up because our time grows small here. Let's go to Bradford. Don't forget to do your homework. I'm going to ask the team to paste that into the chat. Make sure you signed up for that free 7-day trial or you're going to be lost tomorrow, unless you're watching this on the recording. So you can catch that in VIP. Okay, do we have Bradford?
Yes, sir.
What's up?
So part of my question was already asked, which is, bringing in somebody else, which I'd never thought about having them sponsor that particular one where, like, because I've got 3 different loan officers I use religiously because, well, they're good and they're good to my people the way I want them to be. But the other half was when it comes to, this is really mundane, but the phone number, I've already got 3 cell phone looking phone numbers through other CRMs. Is it possible to utilize one of them, or do I have to get another
I
one?
want you to get a really good answer because I think possible is the right word to use. I don't know how easy it is. This is a great opportunity. If you guys have a question like that, that's like kind of specific and very techie in that way, go to school, go to the community wall and get some practice asking a question via making a post. So if you go post that question, Bradford, tonight, then the tech team is going to have an opportunity to look at that today, and they'll be able to give you a thoughtful answer. I'm not the guy you want answering your tech questions because I'll probably give you the wrong one. I'll give you my janky, half butt way to do it. So, but get the tech team to give you a real answer there. And if there's a way to do it, they'll know how because they know that stuff. Very, very good. Y'all, you lean on that community wall, y'all. It's there for you. It's frustrating when you don't use it. Alexandra, what's your question? Hi.
Hi. So my question is, I don't know, maybe you know the answer to this or you don't. But when I signed up for the CRM free trial, at the bottom there was a little message that said that you could pay $13.99 for an add-on for the direct webinar link. Is that the one that you've been referring to that doesn't require the down?
So we've done Zoom the entire time I've done webinars, and Zoom is good because it's a very mature platform. What's the problem? 70 to 80% of your traffic is on mobile. A lot of these people don't have Zoom. And so they get to the point where they have to download the app. There's too much friction. They bail. And so this alternative, we just started using it and we saw it bump the show up rate. So if you want to test that, you can. Ask the tech team a question. If you have more questions about that, that's a great one to put in school. But absolutely. I'm excited.
I didn't see the opportunity to add it. I guess I don't get to add it until my 7 days are up or whatever. I guess I can make a post.
Make a post. The team might be able to answer that for you real quick in the chat. So
then
team,
the $13.99.
Yeah. Okay.
The $13.99, is that per month or is that just one time?
No, it would be per month. Yeah. It's an ongoing thing. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go to Daryl.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier that if you're a realtor, you should consider becoming a loan officer. Mm-hmm. Can you expand on that, please?
We're going to talk more about that on Friday. But what I will tell you is that it has allowed me to, as I work with buyers, first-time home buyers in particular, it's allowed me to pick up some extra basis points every month. So, I make an extra $4 or $5 grand a month capturing a couple of loans a month, right? And it's just mailbox money for me. And basically what I have is, we'll explain this more on Friday, but the first thing it allows you to do is imagine on your consultation, you don't go, okay, now fill out the lender's app. You go, hey, you want to pull your credit right now? Where's your social security number? I'll put it in for you right now. If that's legal where you are, because some states have like tighter mortgage department restrictions. I'm in Texas, pew, pew, pew. You do whatever you want to, basically, as long as NMLS says it's okay. So that has allowed me to tighten up the time that I spend with these folks to qualify them myself. There's no fall off between me and a loan officer, if that helps. We'll go into it more on Friday, though, Daryl. That's a great question. Let's go to Eric. I'm going to try to do Eric, Eliza, Brittany. We're going to stay a couple minutes late. Hit that link because I know a lot of you guys have got to go. Make sure you hit that link to go and get your free 7-day trial of the CRM so that you can keep pace with us tomorrow. By the way, hot take, if you have the ability to log in on one device to the CRM, preferably your computer, because it's way easier to make changes on the computer to the CRM, and then watch us from a different screen, whether that's an extended monitor or whether that's just watching from your phone or iPad. That way you can be in the CRM while you're watching us make changes on the TV, right? Or on the monitor. That is the highest and best thing. If you can't do that, don't sweat it. If you're watching on the recording, don't sweat it. We've got a backup plan for you guys where we have a bunch of little recordings, and that's for everybody. Let's go to Eric.
Hey, Bradley, thank you. I'd seen this webinar before, man, so you're doing a great job as always.
Awesome.
I have a question in terms of the investor template. Do you have that for an investor webinar?
For the presentation?
Yes, and
Yes, there
luxury
is an
homes.
investor template inside of VIP. There's 5 different templates. I know 2 are buyer, and then there's seller and investor. I don't know if there's 2 investor, 1 seller, 2 sellers, 1 investor, but there's buyer, seller, and investor templates in there. And there's a mix of Canva versus, what do you call it? Google Slides. I think the investor one is Google Slides. But yes, there's one in VIP if you want to upgrade to that.